Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're moving now into our first segment for the morning. It is a fun Friday, like we mentioned, April. We've got two lovely ladies with us from the Ministry of Education as they discuss the importance of Child Stimulation Month and activities to celebrate Child Stimulation Month. Nadira Ross is in with us. She is the Education Officer, and Rosie, that's a nice name, Rosie Mangar, yes. Education Officer as well. Ladies, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
I must say it's nice to have you guys. I know coordinated. Yes. You know what? I'm gonna wear the curls today. You put on straight. I like that.
How we coordinate?
Yes, just like that. I'm gonna wear the jacket. So let's talk about it and the importance of Child Stimulation Month. How important is it, especially that we've got a lot of these young children out there, and they might not know the significance. But how important is it?
Well, good morning again. Starting the platform and speaking about the importance, we have to remind ourselves that, like you said, we have a lot of children out there, and the foundation starts at birth. So 5 is the window period where 90% of your brain develops by the age of 5.
Yes.
So if we think about that and think of having that young child live through birth to 5 with that solid foundation, why isn't preschool important?
Yeah.
Why isn't having your child going to preschool something of great importance to you as a parent? And so for the month of March, we've been celebrating Child Stimulation Month since 1984.
Yes.
And every year since then, we've only celebrated activities that highlight and speak to the importance of sending your child to preschool, the importance of having your child be a part of that whole preschool experience. But since the pandemic, we have seen a decrease in terms of attendance. And we saw a 33% decrease between the year 2019-2020. Now, when you think about 33% decrease in terms of children accessing preschool, we don't want that. We have a lot of young children out there who need to be in preschool, who need to have that stimulation, who need to have that experience. So what we've done, we've take a step back and we've evaluated what we used to do, and now we're doing something kind of different, where we're looking at a campaign to get those children who are not accessing to come back and access the preschool centers. So what we've done is that we look at the statistics and we said, okay, well, we need to target initiatives, parents, to allow these spaces to be spaces where you want to send your child, right? But the importance has to be sold to the parent first.
Yes,
indeed,
absolutely.
Right?
Indeed. So, and like I'm a big believer in the buy-in, because we're trying to get these parents to understand the importance of these things. When we say child stimulation, what do we mean?
When when we say child stimulation, we have to remember that our babies learn through play from a very young age. And as parents, as a baby, you have to stimulate your baby. And when we say stimulate your baby, in the olden days we were told, once the baby belly is full, you put the baby to sleep, and you leave the baby there, the baby grows. No kind of stimulation happened. We are encouraging our parents, if even when that baby is sleeping, you can simply take that child and rub the arm, rub the legs, rub the face, and you will see movement. That child will start, the little bodies will start to move. So stimulation is very, very important as a young child growing up.
Well, you know, when you said that, especially when you talk about rubbing and whatnot, it put me back into my parentalhood, whereby that it's very important to have that one-on-one with them. It's very important to try and give them that nurturing love that they deserve. And this month of March is definitely that month that we do that for these children. There's kite flying, there is trying to teach them new things and whatnot. Now that school is back on, I mean, like you mentioned, there's a 32% drop off. What are we getting from our children at this particular point, being that we're coming out of not necessarily coming out, but we're 2 years into this pandemic?
Like what we're getting from them. 2 years I have been locked up. I am not able to socialize, and going to preschool builds your social and emotional intelligence.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you are not able to socialize with your little friend, I mean, they were doing it, but they were doing it through that virtual world.
Yeah.
Nothing is better than physically being in a space where I can share with you,
Yeah.
I can talk to you, I can tell you, you know what, like I came to school today and I was having a off morning. I could share that with my friend.
Yeah.
And you know, the whole environment that the teacher creates, that loving, warm, safe, nurturing environment is what we promote during Child Stimulation Month. So activities where they get to stimulate, they get to share. And also, it's not only about the teacher and the child, but we want the community at large to come in and see the importance, because it's a triangle. We always refer to it as a triangle where we have the parent, we have the teacher, and we have the child. Nothing cannot happen if that triangle is not in unison.
Yeah.
And so we ask, during the month of March, you will see community helpers coming in, sharing, because from your small, you get to identify with things that you like. I might see a fireman. Oh, I want to be a fireman when I grow up, and so forth.
For example, this week, because we have 5 weeks in this month, this
month of
year,
March,
this is the week where community helpers are the highlight of our preschoolers. You would see for example, yesterday we had several collection of pictures where our babies visited the fire station, the police came to them, the dentist came in, they went to all the different community helpers come in, and you see them dress the part. They literally dress the part in the classroom and going out.
Wow.
So we're talking about these activities and so forth, and right before we got started, we were talking about that annual zoo trip that everybody takes, right? How are you able to manage these activities, or I guess work your way around the COVID restrictions and regulations when it comes to some of these activities?
Yeah.
How are you guys being able to engage with the babies despite the pandemic? You can't go to a zoo no more with a whole bunch of picnics, so what is it that we, you can't do it anymore. So how are you able to keep up?
It's like I said earlier, it's this week, which is Community Helpers Week, where, because the children can't literally go out there, in some cases, like going to the zoo and things like that, the community come to the school. So we would have, as I said, the doctors come in, the nurses come in, parents, grandparents who are also community members come in and do activities. Then in little groups, like the fire station, there was one school in Belmopan yesterday. The children are all excited. They were at the fire station. They were playing with the fire truck. The guy showing them how the truck works and different things. And so that is one way of sharing, them coming and the children going. So it can be done in little clusters.
So and then we meet in the middle, which exactly we're doing at this particular point. I definitely want for us to go into what the activities are going to be for the month. But before we do that, like we mentioned, 2 years of not being able to socialize, and we know that one of the most important part of growing up is actually gaining a social skill. What are we noticing from the children at this point? Is it difficult? What are they asking? Are they behaving different? Is it just as they left off in 2019? What are we seeing?
Well, definitely it won't be the same. The transition back into what we are referring to is the new normal, is something that will gradually take time to get back to where we used to be. When you talk just now about 2 years being out, we look at the statistics and we're looking at 74.3% of children out of school. And when I spoke earlier about the campaign that we want to do, we want to target that 74.3 50% and get that down and get more children accessing. So what are some things that we as a ministry want to embark on to get children back into school?
Yeah.
We have, like you heard Ms. Mangar talk about the whole stimulation. That stimulation definitely happens before the child even enters into
Yes.
the education sector.
Yeah.
And of course, we partner with our line ministries, health and human development, to have that relationship, that collaboration going. So we have clinic days. We're targeting clinics where we would go in. We would be sharing some public service announcements and videos. So tell parents, this is what you can do with your young child. And when they go to preschool, this is something that can happen, that you can do.
Yes.
We have partnered with human development daycares. We have children of preschool age who are accessing daycare centers, and then we want that transition into preschool to be a seamless transition.
Exactly.
So why not target our daycare centers or daycare providers, have training for them, and then have them understand too. Sell this program to your parents and the importance.
I do have a question. I mean, before the pandemic, before that 30% drop, I know for a fact that parents were already not sending their kids to preschool. Has anything been done about that as to why parents don't want their kids to go to preschool? I mean, what is the blockade that parents don't want to send their kids to preschool?
It's mainly the 3-year-old children, because we have a 2-year program at the preschool level. We have a level 1 program for the 3-year-olds, and then we have the second-year program for the 4-year-olds. We have a high number of 4-year-olds in school, but then it's the 3-year-old. Mommy will say, "Oh, it's my baby, my baby."
I don't want to let them off.
Yeah, I don't want to let go my little, he and she is still my baby. But this is where, as teachers, we work with our teachers to go out in the community, talk to your parents, encourage them, show them, sell them the program that you have in your center, at your center, in order to bring your babies to school. Have a day where you don't have to bring them to school. They're not registered. Bring them. Let them come and spend a day and see what is here. And many times when the children enter the classroom, they don't want to leave.
They don't want to go home.
They don't want to leave. So that is one way we're trying to work with our parents, with the help of our teachers in the community, to get the 3-year-olds back into the classroom.
Let me throw this out, man, because one of the I saw April's facial expression. One of the hardest thing to do is to let go. It's not hard to wean a child from a parent. It's hard to wean the parent from a child.
That is so true.
And because then you're so don't have a baby, and
and many times the baby come to school and mommy stand at the door and mommy cry.
Yes, he cried.
And
Well, he cried. He's sorry.
My parents are like, "Your tree, bye."
And the 3-year-olds we're having today, they're not like the 3-year-olds of before. They're ready to go to school.
No, I never want to go to school. And they had to wean me off of my daddy.
But parents must understand that early childhood education prepares a child even better. And that's exactly where we're coming from. But let's venture off now into...
Can I just add one more to what Ms. Ross was saying in response to our campaign? We also have in the planning these pop-up centers.
Okay.
And like one of our officers in the Toledo district shared with us that Market Day in PG is Wednesdays and Saturdays. Perfect day to have a pop-up center where the children came to town from all the villages, and activity stimulation can happen right there. So things like this is what we're planning as part of our campaign.
I'm a little bit curious as to how we can keep these types of activities all year round. Because I am a firm believer of experience is the best teacher. And if your kids keep doing these kinds of things and social interacting with other people, not just the children, but they will learn more every day, right? So is this something that you think could be placed in a curriculum?
Well, it is. So what we are doing is Child Stimulation Month is geared towards stimulating the child, but then it doesn't only happen in the month of March. It happens throughout. So we not only focus on stimulating the child during that month, but like you said, we have a preschool curriculum that have activities in there that the teacher can use to stimulate, to teach,
Yeah.
to let that learning environment be that rich, conducive environment for learning.
Yeah.
We are here talking and we didn't even share the theme for this year's
was
Child
just going to say-
Stimulation
I was
Month.
just going to say
Get into it.
Yes, we're so excited to share.
Indeed. The conversation is rich.
Yeah.
Yes.
So at the launch of Child Stimulation Month, which was the 1st of March, we did a tree planting, which was significant to this year's Child Stimulation Month theme, which is we are strong, learning, and growing.
Wow.
So countrywide, we had children planting trees, we had children engaging in planting. But of course, with that activity, teachers had to sell the idea that we're nurturing, and the tree is symbolic of you being
Growing.
here and growing. Yeah, so we had several, that was what we started the month with, and of course you guys are familiar with the Festival of Arts,
Of course.
which is up next week. And that parents love to take their child, showcase their child's talent.
Yeah.
So we have Festival of Arts on the pipeline. We have the National Preschool Storytelling Competition.
which today will be in
Toledo.
Toledo and Stan Creek, where our other officer with the team going to do the videos of our teachers. You know, we can't come to Belize as we usually
We used to
do
do,
from year to
yeah,
year.
yeah.
So we go to them now. So the teachers will be performing their stories. It will be videotaped,
Recorded?
and then
Okay.
yes, and then we will share that on the 31st of March.
Excellent.
It will be countrywide
Excellent.
because the theme will go throughout the country to meet the teachers. to
So
record
you guys will
their
be
stories.
recording the Festival of Arts, their activity, and then
Yes.
bringing that to the table. Then there's one big showing.
Yes.
Ah, and you-
Festival of Arts and the National Teachers Storytelling Competition.
I remember my Festival of Arts. I was Pupa Curly. I remember Pupa Curly and then the Palacio.
I believe you.
Man, I gonna go to here where I say.
We
I had
believe you.
a great I had a great time.
We believe
But
you,
it is
yeah.
important for when it comes to these festival of the arts. Look, there are a lot of children who came out of the Festival of Arts and are now professional musicians here in the country. I know they love theater, they love storytelling, they love these things. Again, the importance of such thing and the fact that you guys are now actually moving into these communities. How do you feel it best suit those communities?
Well, of course, we had to look at the communities that we're serving
Yeah.
and meet the needs of that community. And we have officers in each district
Yeah.
who know their community, who know the community that
course.
they're serving. So what best to get the information from the officer, and then we look at it holistically, and we look at the communities and say, okay, this is a particular community that needs this particular intervention. What might be needed in Corozal might not be needed in Toledo.
Yeah,
Likewise,
facts.
Cayo, Belize. So we have to look at the different communities, what they need, and then we come up with that intervention plan, and then we come in.
So how long do you take to assemble and make the activities for March? Do you start as soon as
It
March
starts
done?
before March. The planning starts before March.
Okay.
And like we said, we are not only thinking about doing things during the month of March, we're doing it different now. We really want to work, as a ministry, we really need to take that 74.3% out of school down and get the percentage of children of preschool age in our center. So our campaign strategy is that we want to start smart, register your child today.
Yeah.
And we have to have our parents and the community at large know the importance of that. And how do they know that? We have to go out, we have to do activities like during Child Stimulation Month for you to see that this is what you need to do in order to get your child, have that solid foundation, grow up for lifelong learning.
All right, sounds great. But we know that you guys are doing your recordings. Will there be a time that these Festival of Arts will be shown so parents could actually
Yes,
check it
yes.
out? When is that time and how can they how can they do
That
that?
will be done by niche. So during the week of March 21st for that week, the niche will be showcasing these items. I'm assuming via the news, the media houses.
Okay.
So parents could look forward during that week for it to be showcased.
Oh wow.
And it will also be shown on the Ministry of
Ministry-
Education Facebook page. Yes.
So is it, so this week was the careers. Last week was,
The week before,
The week
we
before.
focused on launching the month with the tree planting
Okay.
and
Okay.
different activities that the districts did to engage children in stimulating and learning,
Yeah.
you know,
The
setting
importance of yes,
setting the
indeed.
month.
and then
Next week we have health and wellness, where they will focus on the virus, the coronavirus. They will have awareness day. They will share with the children everything about the pandemic. So that will happen throughout next week. And then the following week is where they will do the storytelling in-house and storybook making.
Okay.
And in the last week, they will do a book drive and a toy drive, where they will, whatever is collected, they will take it to those who need in their communities, in their
Okay.
respective communities across the country of Belize.
This is lovely. You know, from the Ministry of Education, you guys are doing an excellent
Yes,
job
yes.
in making sure that our children are properly taught and they are properly learned.
Yes.
So we definitely want to thank you guys for joining us
coming in.
this morning.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you asked how long
How
the
long
segment's
it
gonna be.
See?
We're at the end of
We're
it
done.
now. Thank you, both
Thank
of
you,
you,
thank you both.
Nadira and Rosamie.
Rosamie.
Thank you for joining
Yes,
us
and
this
we look
morning.
forward
Thank
to
you for
the
having
activities
us.
that are going to be available to everybody online and on the media.